Hello and welcome back to Wondrous Minds and welcome back to Obscura. Did you know that once Assam and Manipur were a part of Burma? So this is a story of the Konbaung dynasty and how they had once captured Assam and Manipur, and also how this was the end of the illustrious and long-lasting Ahom dynasty, and also the start of British rule in the northeast, and also the start of British capturing Burma. So this is an interesting story and one of the first incidents that led to a long series of events in the northeastern part of India. So, firstly, you might be knowing that the Ahoms ruled over Assam for around 600 years. They were a dynasty that resisted um, the arrival of the Mughals. In fact, when Aurangzeb tried, his army failed miserably, and there were national causes to it, and there was the brilliant resistance by the Ahom soldiers. And the British didn't try to capture Ahom for a good long period of time, and they had their reasons for it. So the thing is, at the same time as the British Empire was growing, British India was growing in its size, in the land that it had under itself or its control or its vassals. There was also this kingdom which was growing, which was the Burma, which was the Konbaung dynasty of Burma, to be very precise. They were also a growing empire, and so they wanted to have a buffer, and it was for their benefit that they do not go into actual confrontation with the Burma, that they have a buffer zone, which in turn was Ahom. But what happened is, in the 18th century, the Ahom rule itself was having a problem. There were rebellions. There was the Momoroi rebellion, for example. There was the rebellion as well in the 17th century, in the late 1700s, and it was already weakened, especially in the western part. There was already weakened rule of the Ahoms in several parts of Assam. Now, they had a system of advisors. There were two sets of advisors. They were chosen by the king himself. And so, in that period of time, there happened to be the prime minister, as called, who was Purnanda Borgohain, and he suppressed all the rebellions, and also after that he appointed many of his relatives in core functions. Now this led to some unhappiness in several other parts of um, the line, the rule, the series of people who led the administration, and particularly there were the growing power of Burhagain was something that the governor of Guwahati didn't like. So Borfukan, who was the governor of Guwahati, seeked help from the Burma king, and he helped. He helped him, and when this was found out, basically the rebellion was the advancing soldiers were stopped. The Assam soldiers won against the invading forces. It was not an invasion; it was just an help from the Burmese king. So it was stopped. The first rebellion was stopped, and while they had captured quite a significant part and had almost reached the capital Jorhat, they didn't advance into Assam and didn't capture Assam. And in fact, what happened is that when the king was advised by the prime minister Burhokain that please leave the capital, it is not safe for you, he refused. And this led to him thinking that there might be a conspiracy behind it. And following that, um, he died, and his son became the new prime minister. And he wanted to seek revenge in a way, and uh, well, he this was found out by the king, and in the next time, the king himself was the one who uh, seeked help. He didn't seek help, but the Burmese king helped him to get rid of this rebellion, to get rid of the prime minister and whoever was following him. So this second time, it was where the king himself was supported by the Burmese. Um, and this was in 1819. And also in that year itself, what happened is the king changed. The earlier king of Burma died, and his son became the new king, and he wanted to capture entirety of Assam and also Manipur, and he kind of did so. Um, and that led to the British actually directly intervening. So there was this time period between 1819 to 1826 where the Burmese controlled Assam and Manipur. Now, the Manipur's story is a bit different from what Assam faced. So in Manipur, it was already a part of the it was a protectorate or an vassal state of the Burmese, and this arose out of a dispute again between two brothers, where brother sought help from the Burmese, and in return they took them as a vassal state and had indirect control over their affairs. But the person who sought help from the Burmese did not actually, uh, you know, pay heed to what their demands was. For example, in a forest which Burmese had control over, he said that okay, you can go and cut wood from there, even though that technically needed permission from Burmese, and the Burmese were not happy with it. That well, this is a vassal state, and they are not paying heed to what I am saying, and so they attacked. When they were attacking Assam, they also attacked Manipur, and Manipur fell, and both these nations became a part of Burmese control, came under Burmese control, and this in turn led to the Anglo-Burmese War. And the Anglo-Burmese War, there were three wars. All three of them were won by the British, but the first one was the one which was actually to recapture or in a way get back the Ahom control um, over Assam and Manipuri control over Manipur. And with that, the British they won that war, and that led to the treaty. And this treaty was what marked the beginning of the British rule in the northeast of India. It was the Treaty of Yandabo, and that marked the beginning of the British rule into the northeast. And this reinstated the Ahom rule in Assam and the Manipur kingdom in Manipur, but they were short lived. Especially the Ahom kingdom, it lived for another 10 years and it finally uh, ended. This almost at 600. It ended a illustrious dynasty which resisted the mighty Mughals from advancing. Ultimately ended, and it was quite a story that the Burmese, which had been such a growing entity itself, the kingdom, they fell to the British in a war that was not even theirs. They did not have any need to capture. There was a buffer zone. The British maintained that buffer. They maintained that buffer for a long time till they got the you know they could ask for help from these two from people from officials of these two places, and then ultimately they decided to capture them. Held those for around 7 years, but later on, that obviously was not something that the British wanted, and the British did not like it. They captured, and they captured even Burma. So that was quite an interesting story and an interesting part of history of India and the Northeast. Thanks, and I hope you like that. For more, do follow.